Hi students and my dear friends. Today we will discussing about the probability and current density. Okay, probability current density also known as the continuity equation. Okay, continuity equation. According to Schrödinger time dependent wave equation, as you all know that well-known equation of Schrödinger time dependent equation, E psi equals to H psi. According to quantum mechanics, E psi and H psi. Okay, E replacing with E means IH cross dou by dou T. Energy you can write the IH cross dou by dou T and P equals to momentum minus IH cross del. Okay, and H equals to P square by 2m plus V of R into psi. Now substitute these value in above equation. E psi equals to H psi IH cross dou psi by dou T, that equals to P replacing with minus IH cross del, that is minus IH cross del whole square by 2m plus V of R into psi. Now you can apply the squaring on my brackets. Minus IH cross del minus into minus plus I square becomes 2 minus 1, that is minus H cross square del square by 2m plus V of R into psi. Now equation 1, apply the complex conjugate. Okay, the complex conjugation of the above equation 1, you can write the IH cross dou psi by dou T. As you all know that complex conjugate, you can apply the imaginary terms, it can be changes its sign. Okay, IH cross dou psi by dou T becomes to minus IH cross dou psi star by dou T. Here having the minus H cross square del square 2m into psi, it becomes to minus H cross square del square 2m into psi star plus V of R into psi star. This is equation number 2. Now we can pre-multiplying with equation 1 with psi star and equation 2 with post multiplying with psi. Equation 1 pre-multiplying with psi star and equation 2 post multiplying with only psi. That means in front of the wave function pre, after the wave function psi post, you can applying the psi star and psi equation 1 and 2, we get the equation 1. Can I write here IH cross pre-multiplying with psi star, equation 1 pre-multiplying with psi star, IH cross I star dou psi by dou T, that equals to minus H cross square 2 into psi star del square psi plus V of R into psi star psi. This is equation number 1 becomes to the equation number 3. Now equation number 2 becomes to the equation number 4. That means psi multiplying with equation 2 minus H cross dou psi star by dou T into psi minus H cross square 2m into del square psi star del square psi plus V of R into psi star. Now subtract the equation 3 minus 4, we get the subtraction here. That means here having the minus 4, that equals 3 minus 4. 3 is the same equation minus 4. That means the signs will be changed. Here having the minus value, this becomes to the minus into minus plus. Here having the minus into minus plus. Here having the plus into minus. So the subtraction here, minus V of R into plus V of R will be cancel. Here having this one becomes to positive, this one becomes to positive. Okay, here I have the same components IH cross, common this term IH cross. Okay, IH cross remaining term psi star dou psi by dou T plus psi dou psi star by dou T. This is the LHS value, that becomes to RHS having the first components minus H cross square 2m plus minus H cross square by 2m. Okay, having the minus will be changed to plus. Here having the one is the minus, second one is the plus. Here same values having the H cross square 2m. Now we common the minus H cross square by 2m. Remaining terms are psi star del square psi minus psi del square psi star. Okay, this is subtraction of the 3 minus 4. We get the IH cross I star dou psi by dou T plus psi dou psi star by dou T equals to minus H cross square by 2m psi star del square psi minus psi del square psi star. Now the equation, same equation right here. Cancellation the H cross on the both sides. Here having the square, here only single H cross. Okay, those will be cancelled. We get the psi star dou psi by dou T plus psi dou psi star dou T equals to minus H cross by 2mi. Here having the I, here will multiplying with in the brackets value, it can be converted into division of the RHS, that becomes H cross by 2mi equals into psi star del square psi minus psi del square psi star. According to Green's function, this value, according to Green's function, the psi star del square psi minus psi del square psi star d tau, that means volume integral converted into surface integral, d tau becomes to ds. Okay, here having the psi star dou by dou t, here they all know that d by dt of uv formula, d by dt of uv, you can write the uv dash plus v u dash, like that. Here having the psi star dou by dou t of psi dou by dou t of psi star, you can write the dou by dou t of psi star psi, that equals to minus h cross by 2mi into, here having the del square value, del dot, okay, del dot psi star del psi minus psi del psi star. Here having the negative h cross value, it can be converted into LHS, del dot minus h cross by 2mi psi star del psi minus del psi star psi plus dou by dou t of psi star psi is equals to 0. Okay, here having the throughout equation, this becomes to the s, this becomes to the rho. You can write the del dot s plus dou rho by dou t is equals to 0. Del dot s plus dou rho by dou t is equals to 0. Okay, here having the s is the current density, s is the current density, rho is the probable density. Okay, here having the s is current density, rho is the probable density. This is all known as the continuous